Hey everyone, I'm back, and today we're going to be talking about The Lord of the Rings, The Two Towers. And this movie came out in 2002, and it's directed by Peter Jackson once again, and it has all the same cast as the first movie that made it from the first movie. And I really love this movie. I still prefer Fellowship of the Ring over this movie. I don't think this movie is quite as good as the first one, but I do think this is a great follow-up, and most of what this movie does well, it does really well, just as good as the first movie, if not a little bit better in some cases. And the only thing that I think this movie does better overall is the action, and I think the action in this movie is really great, especially the Battle of Helm's Deep. I think that's probably the best action sequence in the entire trilogy. And I really liked the decision to have a lot of screen time with Gollum, and he's a really interesting character, and Andy Serkis does a great job. And I liked a lot what they did with the character of Gollum, and I know in the next movie there's more to his character that you learn, but in this movie there's a lot to soak in and really enjoy about the character, not just like, but not that he's necessarily a likable character, but he is very interesting because you can see that he's clearly been obsessed with the ring, and he calls it my precious. Like everybody knows, I'm not going to do a Gollum impression, but it is pretty iconic, like his character and his whole role in the story. And he is very manipulative, and he's kind of just willing to do anything just to get the ring, and that's really what I love about the character, and that's what makes him interesting to me. And for anyone who has not seen this movie, all I'm going to say is that do not watch the trailers because they do spoil what happens in the movie. So just saying that, just in case you haven't seen the movie yet and you know nothing about it, this is a scenario where the less you know about it, the better. And unlike Fellowship of the Ring, this movie, and I believe this applies to The Return of the King, the follow-up Lord of the Rings movies, they don't really stand on their own as well as the first movie. And like I said, the first movie is much like Kill Bill Volume 1, where it's a really great standalone movie, but combined with everything else, it's even better for me. Whereas, like, this would, I guess, be Kill Bill Volume 2. It's really great, and I think it's just as good as Volume 1. But it's a movie that works much better if you've seen Volume 1, and that's kind of how I feel about Two Towers, is that it works much better if you've seen Fellowship of the Ring, because you're missing a lot of context if you haven't seen that movie. And much like Fellowship of the Ring, the performances here are great, and the music is amazing. I love the music in this movie, and there were some new themes that they added in there, and I don't know if you can hear that, but it's like a plane or something. And much like Fellowship of the Ring, this movie does get a lot of things right. The characters are great, and the story is interesting and where it goes, and there's always something to be invested in. And there were a couple things where I wasn't super into, and there is a character called Faramir in this movie, and when he's introduced, I don't hate him at all. It's just that anything that's going on with his character is the stuff I'm invested in the least, and that kind of dragged down the experience just a tiny bit. And most of my issues with this movie are just kind of little things, and also just personally I would have preferred something else. Like Eowyn, the whole little like love triangle thing that didn't really need to be in the movie. I know it's I haven't seen the extended edition, but apparently it's you get more of that in the extended cut, and I don't know how it is in that version, but in this version it's barely in there, but at the same time it doesn't need to be in the movie really. And they do bring back the Nazgul in this movie, but they make one change to them, and instead of on horses, they're on like these dragon things or whatever, things that can fly. And personally, I find them more scary when they're on horses instead of a CGI creature. Not to say that I don't like the design of the thing that they're on, but personally, I just find the design with them on a horse to be much more intimidating than what we got in this movie, just personally. But in terms of issues, that's about it. And the rest of the movie is really great. It's fun, and it's tense, and it's full of adventure, and just everything that you would want in a follow-up to A Fellowship of the Ring is in this movie. And it's very satisfying, and well, you do kind of know that there's a third movie because of two reasons. One, these movies came out a long time ago, and two, there's 3 books and they've made 3 movies, obviously, so you know that the story isn't gonna end here. But this movie, I think, did, for the most part, the best that it possibly could, and I was very satisfied by the end of everything. So check this one out if you haven't already. And I would not recommend you check this movie out if you were not a fan of the first movie, or if you have not seen Fellowship of the Ring. Because if you haven't seen that movie, don't bother with this movie, because I don't think it's going to win you over. And you're missing a lot of context if you haven't seen Fellowship, as I've said already. So, but for everyone who enjoyed Fellowship of the Ring, I would recommend you watch The Two Towers. And with all that being said, I'm going to give The Lord of the Rings, The Two Towers a 9 out of 10. Thank you for watching my videos as always. If you enjoyed this review, be sure to leave a like and comment down below you thought of Two Towers, and my social media links, they will all be in the description, so follow me there. And last but not least, subscribe to be a part of Foley Nation, and I'll see you when I get my next review up. And you probably guessed it, it's Return of the King, so look forward to that. But until I get that up, thank you for watching and have a great day.